picture it. The year is 1947. World War II is finally over. America is, without a doubt, the most powerful nation on Earth. But here's the weird thing. Instead of a massive countrywide party, there's this quiet tension in the air, this feeling of unease. And that paradox is exactly what we're going to unpack right now.
So that's the big question, isn't it? I mean, on one hand, you have this incredible, unprecedented power, and on the other, this deep, nagging fear. If you can wrap your head around how those two things could exist at the exact same time, you'll understand so much about the world we're living in right now.
And you know what's wild? It all kind of came to a head in this one single year, 1947. You've got these bold new policies designed to literally reshape the globe, but at the same time, you have bizarre events happening at home, like that infamous incident in Roswell, that are just pouring gasoline on this fire of national paranoia. They seem completely disconnected, but they're not. They are two sides of the exact same coin. Okay, so let's start with that feeling of fear. It really was an age of anxiety. And a lot of that anxiety, believe it or not, seemed to be coming from right over our heads, from the skies. So what specifically were people so freaked out about? Well, for starters, there was Roswell, of course. All those rumors of a crash flying saucer. Then there was the very real, very visible threat of our own nuclear testing. I mean, we were proving we now had the power to literally vaporize ourselves. And then there were these weird, persistent sightings of something people were calling Foo Fighters. And get this, Foo Fighters wasn't some tabloid headline. No, this was the name that Allied pilots, the guys flying our most advanced planes, gave to these strange lights and objects they kept seeing during the war. So this fear of the unknown wasn't just on the ground, it was up there with the people on the cutting edge of our own technology. But, and this is a huge but, while everyday Americans were nervously looking up at the sky, the US government was confidently looking out at the world. This is the other half of that paradox, this incredibly bold, assertive plan for the entire planet. This one sentence, it changed everything. When President Truman said this, he was making a declaration to the whole world. It was a line in the sand. America was done with isolationism. From now on, it was going to be the global defender of democracy against anyone who tried to take it away. But, you know, a doctrine is just words. You've got to back it up with action. And that action was the Marshall Plan. Now, this wasn't just some charity project. It was a massive, multi-billion-dollar plan to rebuild the economies of Western Europe that had been totally shattered by the war. The thinking was pretty simple. A stable, prosperous Europe would be a strong ally. So you can really think of this strategy as a 1-2 punch. The world's problem, post-war chaos. America's solution, a flood of economic aid. The world's other problem, the spread of authoritarianism. America's solution, unwavering political support. It was a complete plan to remake the world. So what happens when you combine this deep-seated fear at home with this incredibly ambitious plan for the rest of the world? Well, you get the perfect conditions for a totally new kind of conflict. This is the moment the Cold War really, truly begins. When you boil it all down, all the money, all the politics, all the action, it was all in service of a single, one-word strategy. A word that would define American foreign policy for the next 40 years. Containment. The goal was to stop the spread of Soviet influence, dead in its tracks. That's the real challenge, isn't it? I mean, you can't shoot an ideology. You can't build a wall to stop a political philosophy from reaching a desperate population. You need a completely different kind of weapon. And the Marshall Plan, that was the weapon. It was the financial muscle behind the big idea of containment. By helping rebuild Europe with strong capitalist, democratic allies, America wasn't just giving away money, it was building a firewall against communism. It was literally rebuilding the world in its own image. So how is this all possible? How can you have this crippling fear and this godlike confidence living side by side? The answer, the thing that connects both, is the incredible, mind-bending leaps in science and technology that were happening. And this is really the core of the whole paradox. The very same scientific genius that gave America the industrial power to rebuild an entire continent also gave it the atomic bomb, the power to destroy everything in an instant. The promise of a perfect future and the peril of no future at all, they came from the exact same place.
Which brings us to this final massive question. This was the dilemma they faced back in 1947, and honestly, it's a question we are still grappling with today. When you hold the power of both creation and total annihilation in your hands, what does peace even mean? Is it ever truly possible?